What are the top budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks post Dooms of Dimensions? Big dogs, I've compiled a list of some of the best budget decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And in today's video, we are going to be ranking them from best budget all the way down to save that money for noodles. My favorite is the chili kind, and you can't tell me it's not the best. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. So the budget tier list is gonna be slightly different. In this particular tier list, since we are approaching the Dooms of Dimension format, I will be ranking these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies more so based on their potential through my playtesting with these particular strategies. And of course, with some help, I'm going to be picking the brains of some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh players in the game. The most important criteria for these Yu-Gi-Oh decks is 1, are they cheap? Can they be built for at a maximum around that $100 range? A lot of these are significantly cheaper than that though. 2 is that if you put more money into the strategy, will it become a stronger deck? Or does the strategy have potential to get more support or indirect support to make it stronger? 3 is of course the deck's competitive viability right now. And before we start talking about the strategies you see, let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. There are some cheap, powerful Yu-Gi-Oh decks in the format. One of them was Yummy before the new support, but the other strategies were actually old but gold Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that were really powerful before. Big dogs, if you have no problems crawling back to your ex or admitting to your rival that maybe he was right, then consider playing Ryziel or Malice. These decks are ridiculously cheap. Now I know what you guys are thinking, you don't want to be a meta slave. Listen for 1 second though. Malice was so strong of a deck, even when the new strategies came out in Justice Hunters, it was one of the best decks in the game. Losing Malice Dormouse is not the end of the world. In fact, the deck actually did really well in Worlds with only 1 Malice Dormouse. Losing Splash Mage though, I'm not telling you guys to play cards like Spell Card Monster Reborn to help you extend because you lost Splash Mage, but I am telling you, where there's a will, there's a way. And the other budget deck is Ryziel. While it did fall off at the end of last format, it actually got some secret support in Dooms of Dimensions. If I can interest you in maybe Utopia Ryziel, then this deck might be a little bit more palatable. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, while it does seem like these decks are fading from the light, they are still fairly cheap and really powerful budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Now let's start off with Dynamorphia. Dynamorphia received no support, and the Yu-Gi-Oh card game has gotten faster. I mean, the 2025 Megatens did reprint Iron Thunder, so now the deck is around $20 for the entire thing again. It's still one of those Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that is a good price for its current status. I don't think we're expecting Dynamorphia to wow anybody. But Dynamorphia Rexstrom being a really good floodgate and the Yu-Gi-Oh format being pretty nice to board breakers, this is a really solid strategy. I think the only real problem, we lost a Solemn Judgment. That may came up a little bit more, which is why I put it a little bit lower. I think a big thing that we do need to address is that Yu-Gi-Oh is getting faster. Possibly I'll even make a video about it, but Yu-Gi-Oh strategies are all starting to have 1-card combos. And they're all insane. This has led to a lot of strategies that require 2 or more cards to be able to combo to be left in the dust, and that's pretty much where it leaves us with Hero. Because in a lot of instances, Hero isn't just a 2-card combo, it's a 2-card combo that requires specific cards in order to operate, and it's inboard Nibiru token sometimes. I think Heroes are cheap, but not unfair. I think that's really fair to put it ironically. This is a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck that you guys can get if you absolutely love Heroes. But understand, there is nothing unfair about this deck. I mean, it's so fair, it might even give your opponents cards just so it can play. I'm not playing, Molcharmy Flawless does exist. I think the same can also be said by Ice Barrier. Back when it was only Ryziel and Malice having these 1-card combos, we were okay. But now that it's not only Ryziel, Malice, it's Draco Tail, K9, Yummy, and even new strategies from both Duelist Advance and the Dooms of Dimension. Definitely a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that's cheap, but not unfair. Ice Barrier is not a bad deck, which is really weird that I'm saying that. It's just really unfortunate that the deck is power crept, which is really weird to say because it just got support. Being able to summon the Lancia Ancestral Dragon is still really strong, but it's probably better in the other water decks. Now, Tri-Brigade actually doesn't look bad right now. Tri-Brigade got 2 new cards. The Link 2 monster, Tri-Brigade Arms Mauser, which allows you to be able to send 2 Tri-Brigade cards from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. It also is incredibly generic. What makes it better is that now, because we have Radiant Storm cards, the Mystical Space Typhoon deck, this strategy is even stronger because of it. I actually think that for the price of this Yu-Gi-Oh deck, it's a good price for a pretty solid deck. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to power creep, because Tri-Brigade now has 1-card combos. And seeing that this deck was never really bad, just outdated, some more support for this strategy was definitely welcome. I don't see this strategy taking over the world anytime soon, but I definitely see it as a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck that helps all of the BBW strategies, possibly even including Lunalight. I could see a world where that happens. Speaking of anime decks, Black Rose finally got its shot at anime. It's why are they doing this? This is not bad support. Like, seriously, it's like Black Wings or Red Dragon Archfiend or some of the other decks. It's not bad support. The problem is that it's still very, very, very fair. I remember back in the days where they made the anime strategies and they made them busted. They gave us the best support. Perfecto. And literally allowed us to destroy our opponents. Nowadays, it's fair. Megalith is also really interesting because the new cards scream complete fire. Megalith Nora Plura, Megalith Nothra Plura, Megalith Nothrapora. Megalith Nothrapora prevents your opponent from activating cards in response to your Megaliths, which starts the beginning of a very, very powerful card. It says when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then if you negated a card or effect that targeted cards on the field, you can tribute 1 monster your opponent controls. Spicy. More really good support for this deck. I think that Megalith is going to be our first potential investment, and it's simply because the deck is like $5. There is not a single Megalith card that's actually worth anything. They're all commons and supers. And with the right ritual support that continues to go on, Megalith could be a really powerful deck that's worth nothing to be able to invest into. The entire deck is cheaper than a pack of sleeves, my brother. And if you're ever buying packs of sleeves, then you probably already know where you should be going. TheCaliEffect.com. Big dog, I have been sent on a mission to give you guys the cheapest sleeves in the entire universe at the best quality. And if you ever want it, you can head yourself to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your sleeves today. Not only are you supporting the channel, you're getting something in return. And you can also go ahead and check out those mats we got. Apparel is coming very soon, brother. It's really hard to say that Tenpai would ever be a not unfair deck. I mean, until they ban Sengenkaimen and the field spell, it's always going to be pretty unfair. And as long as we keep getting Fire Dragon support, yeah, I think it's worth it. What's really cool is that Tenpai Dragon just got rarity upgrades in the Mega 10s, and the strategy is still less than $10. It's not a Yu-Gi-Oh deck that will win the big event, but it's actually a strategy that I think can compete at a local level and do fairly well. I would also like to point out it requires a skilled player, but you guys know I'd be lying right there. Maybe a Dragon Ruler Tenpai version or even a Sky Striker Tenpai version would probably be your best way of approaching the deck. Goblin Biker lost a lot. Rest in peace, Moon. But what Goblin Biker lost, it also gained. The new Radiant Typhoon cards? Yeah. The level 3 guys that special summon themselves and then search another one to special summon itself? That's a 1-card Goblin Biker combo, my boy. So out with the Fiendsmith, in with the Radiant Typhoon. I think that this deck is still a potential investment. This is another one of those $5 Yu-Gi-Oh strategies. And the cool thing about it is that not only do the Radiant Typhoon cards serve as an engine for Goblin Biker, it also does up the ceiling of Goblin Biker itself. It is not a bad engine, but as a deck, we'll talk about that when we get there. Melodious is going to sit in the same spot as Goblin Biker, Tenpai Dragon, and Megalith, except it actually does have more accomplishments under its belt, so I'm going to put it in good price deck. And RB Power! The new RB cards, I have to talk about them. They are not bad. Players were using them inside of Earth Machine and even Cyber Dragon. But if we're gonna cut the BS, Pile Bunker, Blade, and Cannon are dog compared to what they should have been. All we needed was more RB cards to summon themselves to the side of the field for free. They didn't even have to do a whole lot. All they had to do was just continue on what we're doing. I don't think that RB is meta anymore. It's definitely cheap, but not unfair. As a pure Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, I think that this deck is still pretty buns. And the new support went the opposite way that we hoped, though it's not completely terrible. But had the strategy went the Mitsurugi route and built on top of what it had, this could have been a top tier budget Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Mermail is one of the only Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that I think beats the exception. It is a 2-card combo Yu-Gi-Oh deck when you're not normal summoning Prince. It's also a good price Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I think people have forgotten about how powerful this deck is. It kind of reminds me of Memento, a strategy that does require a big brain to play, but rewards you for the big brain plays. With all its board breaking and board making potential, and the water barrier statue being unbanned, this strategy actually, I can't even lie, it's budget baller. It's one of the best. Sword Soul, well brother, it's getting support one day. It's gonna support my noodle habit. All right, so there's 2 types of noodles that we people from LA, we eat, okay? It's the normal noodles, right? You know, you just get the chili noodles, you just put the chili in and, you know, it's good. Then there's spread. If you guys don't know what spread is, you ain't got enough family members that went to prison. But spread is a combination of noodles with other things you can find around the house. My favorite version is the one with the hormone chili. Then you get some sour cream. We mix it with some jalapenos. Make sure you drain the water when you mix it with the chili, because that's disgusting if you don't. My boys from the hood, let me know your versions of spread down below, because Red Dragon Archfiend is definitely going in there. Why? Probably the worst 1-card combo deck to ever exist. And oh my god, that hurts saying that. I love Red Dragon Archfiend, but if we're gonna keep it a bean, guys, that ship is way sailed. This deck is just new. With pretty much every hand trap being so low impact it doesn't make an impact, Red Dragon Archfiend has left itself in a really interesting spot. It can be a deck that can be played giving you a lot of non-engine, but the problem is the non-engine that you can play with the deck don't help. We really need a Resin Eater monster that can be a tuner or non-tuner, and some more Dark Drag. I think it'll be cooking after that. Blue Eyes, if you guys are talking about budget, it is probably the best budget deck you can get. If anything, we know that Yugioh and Malice are closer to their way out. Blue Eyes and Mermail are strategies that I still think are fairly strong and still have a little bit more viability. Now, I'm not even going to pretend like I sat there and read every Saffocord card in the world. And I even went around asking some of the best players in the world Saffocord. And they asked me, is that a new strategy from Dooms of Dimension? With all that being said, I do know a couple of facts about this deck. It can pendulum summon multiple times like DDD. Crazy. It has some really busted cards, but it needs you to provide odd and even scales to be able to efficiently play. It also lacks a genuine themed inboard, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you compare it to the new style of Yu-Gi-Oh, your deck needs to have that themed inboard. I've seen K9 versions of this deck. I've seen strategies to try to pimp out Odd Eye's Vortex Dragon. I think that this deck is a potential investment. It's mainly because the Saffocord cards are ultra rares from a set that no one wants to buy. And from my readings of it, it's actually not a terrible Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. On top of that, nobody else wants to read it. So you're probably gonna steal a lot of wins until people realize what all of that text does. Dino's got the new Synchro monster, finally, but Misk is still on the list. Day 3,865 of waiting of Misk coming off the list so we can play Dinos. Soon, my brothers. Soon. I don't think that Live Twin Evil Twin is bad. I think it's actually a good priced Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It plays tons of hand traps and is one of the very few strategies that can Fiendsmith combo naturally. The problem with this deck is that it has a lowered ceiling, and seeing that hand traps are pretty low impact themselves, I think that you need your engine to do a little bit more. Kind of like the same problems that Melodious has, but still a really solid deck. Doomsy just came out, and I genuinely think it's cheeks. No, seriously, it's not that bad. I mean, 1-card Exceeds at me, boy. But then equipped spell cards at me, boy. I've seen some people try to mix Makonko with this, and that's probably what turned me off of Doomsy initially. But my thoughts on this is that when it combos, it actually does a really good job. But the brick cards and all of the stupid cards you have to play to get there, regardless though, it's in its first stage, so I would 100% say potential investment. Doomsy, like Art Mage, has a ton of untapped potential. Keep in mind, these are the lore Yu-Gi-Oh strategies. If we're going just strictly off of what happened in the past, 3 of them are bound to be really, really, really strong. Doomsy actually could be way stronger. I just don't know yet. It doesn't seem good enough to me yet. I think for another $5 Yu-Gi-Oh, that Gouki is probably what you're getting the best. This deck does what a lot of this deck does, but it only requires $5. And the Gouki cards are actually pretty modernized. It may require multiple cards to be able to play, but it requires any 2 Gouki monsters, and its combos are kind of combo. Maybe it's not on the same strength as these decks, so I would put it in potential investment, but Gouki actually is not bad, and the new support was crazy. I think Psychics though, oh my god, brother, Psychics are there. I was playtesting with a Psychic Kashtira Fiendsmith deck. I'm probably gonna have to drop the Fiendsmith considering that Moon is banned, but this deck is actually really good at disrupting boards and making some of the most powerful itself. With the new cards, the deck actually gets a little bit more intricate in being able to summon Psychic monsters and using both teleport cards, Parallel Teleport and Emergency Teleport. And the Kashtira cards are Psychic too. It's just icing on the cake. Dogmatika is like, it's cheap, but not unfair. The Albazoa Ritual monster is crazy. 4,000 attack, count me in. The only problem is Dogmatika, even with the extra deck grouping, pretty fair. I think the biggest thing is locking you out of being able to special summon from the extra deck, but this deck has some really good board breaking capabilities through Nadir Servant and Ultimate Slayer. True Draco, you guys will be very surprised where I put it. I wanted to be honest, I wanted to put it here. The deck is still using a Mono Awado, dog. Like, where do you want me to put it? But if I'm being honest, it's actually right here. A Mono Awado actually does things. And lastly, big dogs, is the Mystical Space Typhoon deck. I don't care what you guys say, this is going to be biased. I'm putting it here. I pulled the Starlight Rare copy of the Reinforcement of the Army card when I should have pulled a Starlight Rare copy of the DDD card. I'm standing 10 toes. I hate this card. But in all seriousness, I would say that this deck isn't good as a pure Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's better as a Tri-Brigade deck, as a Fiendsmith deck, as a Goblin Biker deck. Hell, it's better as anything else except for a pure version of itself. And that's all that I have for the budget tier list, big dogs. I really hope you guys enjoy. Remember, go to TheCaliEffect.com to pick up your Raven Wing sleeves, and always have an amazing day. I'll catch you on the next video.